Hello, and welcome to the show Goldsquadrongays. It's the podcast where two Star Wars loving gays break down each episode of their favorite Star Wars TV shows while also being gay as hell. I'm your host, Bradley Brower.
And I'm your other host, Charles Rogers, and welcome to the finale of Volume 1 of the original Clone Wars microseries. If you are just joining us, Bradley and I are filling the time between whenever the next thing comes out, be it Obi-Wan Kenobi on May the 25th, or whenever the fuck the Bad Batch is going to come out.
We still don't know.
We still don't know. As of recording this, we might have found out by the time this episode airs, but as of recording this, we have no fucking idea. Bradley and I are watching through the original microseries. We are taking Volume 1, 5 chapters at a time, and then we'll evaluate how long we want to take to do Volume 2. Stretching or extending it or contracting it to fit the time, as I put it in a text message earlier today, being verse for Lucasfilm's schedule. Also worth noting, because I keep interrupting Bradley to do it, but I'm gonna say it up front this time, Bradley has never seen the Clone Wars microseries. I grew up on it. This week we are covering chapters 16 through 20. Starts with, if you're following along with us, that starts with the sequence with Padmé and Typho and the droids outside of the ship, looking for Yoda. And it ends with the credits.
The credits. Okay, great.
Kind of hard to miss the ending for this one.
if you're watching on Disney Plus, it's very easy to finish this episode with us because
it's very
it just
easy
ends.
to figure out where we're going to end. Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's dive right on in. Bradley, what did you think of episodes 16 through 20? Some Padme stuff, and then the big duel between Anakin and Asajj.
Yeah, I mean, this section was pretty much just that. Or at least it felt like that when I was watching it. You know, it was very much just Anakin, Asajj dueling for 3 chapters. So I actually really enjoyed it because it leaves you on a cliffhanger, and then it also shows that Anakin's obviously going to become Darth Vader one day, and like all kinds of stuff. Like there's just so many little things in there. You're like, oh, I see what they're doing.
I think we can finally talk about this, and I'll talk about it up front because it overarches the entire 3-episode duel. Something that really annoyed me about the Clone Wars media prior to the Clone Wars 2008 series was that everything was desperate to show you that Anakin would turn to the dark side, but nothing knew why he turned to the dark side. Clone Wars 2008 had the benefit of where you can watch that show and you can see that Anakin Skywalker is a hero of the Republic, but you can also see the very heroic traits, like his loyalty to his friends and his desire to do the ethically right thing, are the things that are going to lead him down the path to the dark side. This show didn't really have that benefit. A lot of the stuff that came up around that point, especially the Star Wars The Clone Wars video game, did not have the benefit of knowing why Anakin turns to the dark side. So they just were like, he's dark, and he's gonna be Darth Vader. They were also kind of building off episode 2, which he slaughters a whole bunch of Tuskens in episode 2, and it's bad, and that's the characterization they were working off of for him. And this series really leans into it, and that annoys me a lot. Where it's like, he comes off kind of as a whiny jackass, because they're trying to be like, oh, this is the guy who will eventually be Darth Vader. And it's like, he's Darth Vader right now. You're writing him as Darth Vader walking around in an Anakin suit. Come on, guys. Come on. Which, in fairness, I will give them, they didn't really have episode 3 to work with. They only really had the production for it. And if you watch the making of episode 3, there was a substantial amount of production done before George Lucas finished the first draft. So, what did you think? Continuing on what you thought of these episodes, Bradley, I think I hijacked it a little bit from you.
Yeah, no, like I said, the first episode kind of feels a little like, okay, we get it. It's a continuation of the rest of the Yoda stuff, like
Ilum arc.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird part to add to the Ilum arc because it doesn't really like. I mean, I get it's showing us like Padme doing something, which is great, and I love that she's doing something. But it's like
plus A plus on Padmé actually doing something, which
Yeah.
sometimes media forgets to have her do things, Revenge of the Sith. But this show did actually have her be proactive and go out and try to do something.
Right. However, I feel like they undercut it by being like, it's Yoda. Like Yoda, it can handle himself. Like, so it's kind of like her whole entire episode means nothing because by the time she gets to him at the very end, it's like, oh, you're fine. Oh, okay, great. Like, and he like kind of saves her in a way. Like, it's just interesting. You're like,
I do like how competent all of the female characters that we have are in this micro series. I do think that is cool, and I think that was an important step on the journey to more inclusivity in Star Wars, was the way that media like this showed, because you have Padmé, who is shown to be relatively competent in this. You know, she's clever, she figures out a way. Now we'll get to the way that she actually uses, but she figures out a way to reveal the droids so she can destroy them. We have Asajj Ventress, who is terrifyingly efficient.
yes.
Right up until the tide of battle turns. We have Luminara and Barriss, who are shown to be very capable Jedi in their own right. It's not an issue of, oh, they couldn't handle it, so Yoda had to come and rescue. Like, they're shown to be very good at what they do, and they were just overwhelmed. And Jedi aren't gods. And then Yoda, came in and rescued them. So I like that there's no real female characters in this series that are like just kind of there. They're all very proactive and they're all very capable, and I do like that about this show. It needed more female characters, but Star Wars needed to add more of those in general around this time frame.
For sure.
So,
yeah.
Well, we pick up with Padmé, and she follows Yoda to try to help him out because she's worried he hasn't come back for a while. She gets ambushed by some droids, concocts a plan to she tosses her cloak out, shoots the droid, and there's like, 3PO, can you go get my coat? Which is treated as this very funny moment, but I also don't feel like 2008 Clone Wars Padmé, I don't feel like she would put 3PO in danger like that.
Yeah, no, I think that was very much like we need some comic relief, something right here. Like, that's all it was played off as. Like, it doesn't feel right. Like, it actually, you know what it even feels like? It feels more like the droids show from.
I was literally about to say that. I was about to say it's very droids with Anthony Daniels doing his, oh no, woe is me.
Yeah.
I have become trapped in the ice.
Yeah.
Sort of deal. Yoda shows up. They've rescued Luminara and Barriss. I do like that this implies sort of a friendship between Yoda and Padmé that I don't really think we get to see elsewhere.
Yeah, she kind of like not reveres him, but you know what I mean? Like, she's like, oh, like if Anakin likes you so much, like I should also like you. So she like wants that connection.
It also feels like they have a like an actual friendship. Like, she probably knew him when she was a senator and he was Grand Master of the Jedi Order.
Yeah.
Like, sure, she's not going to run into a random Padawan for years, but she probably saw Yoda around the Senate. Like, they clearly, she knows who he is in Attack of the Clones. So I did like that. They're like, this is the funniest fucking thing to me. They're like, revealed the secret location of our temple is, we have been betrayed. And I'm sitting there like, I wonder what former Jedi revealed the location of your secret temple.
That's what I don't understand about any of the characterization stuff with Dooku. It's like, he knows all your secrets, so it's not like much of a secret. Like, it's
like, it pops up and he's like, Dooku. Who the fuck else was it gonna be?
Right.
Like, come on. It was the one guy who'd walked away from the Jedi Order. Like, obviously he knew where your hidden temple was. He was a Jedi Master. He trained Padawans. He trained Qui-Gon. He obviously knows. Such a ridiculous, like, quote unquote plot twist. Like, it's not a plot twist. They should have known that he knew where it was and was going to send droids. Cut to Anakin landing on Yavin 4.
Okay, sure.
Is here. We'll get to that in just a second. But he wanders off for a bit, and then a bunch of clones show up that Obi-Wan sent. Mm-hmm. I love the little exchange where he's like, Obi-Wan, yes, sir. Like, he knows immediately. Like, okay, fine. Go help, be useful. And then we get like this like horror sequence of Asajj just picking the clones off one by one.
Yeah.
Which is very cool. But also it's like the clones are super disposable in this.
Yeah. And like you said before, like we see the helmet of one of them fall off or something like that, but there's obviously no head in there. So it's like, what happened to that clone? Like,
yeah, like he just whoop, he's gone.
yep.
Like they didn't animate a face for him at all. Yeah, they're just like they're completely disposable. They're there to establish that Asajj is scary. I did think it's funny that she murders all the clones and then Anakin turns around. He's like, something's not right.
Yeah, it's like, dude, have you not felt like the Force, your Peter tingle like has been like going off, like your Anakin tingle?
Is your Anakin tingle not going off to let you know that the fucking clones are all dead? Like,
yeah, like what is going on here, Anakin? Like, come on, dude.
Something's not right. Yeah, no
Right.
shit, buddy. Have you tried checking in with the clones? So he runs back to the clearing and he sees one clone by the ship and he's like, what happened? And then the ship blows up. And then his starfighter blows up, which rip R4.
Right.
That very sad.
So is that
that would be
is that a canon mistake? Because in Revenge of the Sith, R4 shows up again.
Great question. Let's find out. Jesus, there were a lot of R4s.
Oh well.
Good Lord, there were a lot of R4s.
Wah, wah, wah.
Holy shit.
So I guess it means nothing that it's R4.
Yeah, no, there's literally so many R4s. So apparently it is not the same R4 as the one that Obi-Wan uses. Apparently it is a different R4. There are a lot of R4s, apparently.
Clearly, because they keep getting their head cut off every single 5 minutes.
So I don't know which R4 it is. There's like a dozen of them. I have no answer to this question for you. Asajj Ventress shows up.
Great, loves her.
She just walks through the fire like a fucking badass.
Love that.
So in the immortal words of George Lucas, they fight. And here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Here's why she takes him to Yavin 4. One, it is absolutely steeped in the dark side, just absolutely dripping with the stuff in Legends. Like, this is the former temple of a guy named Exar Kun. It is a big dark side nexus, like huge deal. She definitely picked a planet where she was going to be more powerful. And you can also kind of tell that she knows the battlefield terrain.
That's true.
So she very obviously scouted ahead and knew exactly where she was directing him.
That makes sense, actually, now that I think about it. Maybe this is like where she was training or something, some kind of like whatever. Like
she clearly knew where this was. So she was like, okay, I pick a dark side planet and it's going to be a place where she's gone and at least walked around and been like, okay, here's how I'm going to direct this fight to wear him out. And gradually strip away layers of his clothing, which thanks for that. That was definitely necessary.
He's slowly but surely getting naked. Thank you.
Correct. Which is, he doesn't quite get shirtless, but man, we got so close there.
Get pretty close. He's at least wet because it starts raining.
He is very wet. It does start raining. Did you notice the way that the lightsabers like fizzle in the rain?
Like the attention to detail is so good in this because you're like, that's exactly what would happen. Like steam would start coming off these things because they're just fucking heat, it just evaporate the water. Like, I don't know why we haven't ever had this before, but
the level of thought and detail that was put into this series is incredible. The animation just, it walks the line between being a spectacle and being handled with very great care and attention to detail. It's incredible. It's truly incredible to look at.
Right.
So they have a fight. They have more fight, and I identified there's a moment where he like kicks her and she stumbles back. That is the moment I identified as the point where the tide sort of turns.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it, trying to see like where he does
previously there's a sense where she's leading him around, and at that point she starts running away. So when she leads him when she runs into the temple and he follows her and she's running up the stairs and she's like tossing the pillar after him,
Yeah.
it's more of a sense that she's running away from
Interesting.
him.
Okay. And I also like the color theory here. Like she's obviously highlighted in the red because her lightsabers are red, his is blue, and they're like single colored.
Yes.
Until
I
they
did
get
love
back
that.
outside. Yeah.
There is also a point that I have noted on later where he will actually switch to red. And in universe, it's because they're under the planet, the actual planet Yavin. But out of universe, it's because he's going more and more to the dark side.
Right.
Which, the color theory here, and like it's super on the nose, but that is fine. This is a super on the nose show, and I do love that. I want to take a minute to highlight just how incredible the music is for this.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's points where they're using John Williams' score. There's points where they're using another score. Trying to look up to find who the composer is, but IMDb doesn't list it on the brief glance that I can see. This is the thing Charles didn't research before we started the episode. Yeah, I can't find it, but shout out to whoever the composer was for this, because it's some incredible music. When it does have music, I talked in a previous episode about the silence, how good the silence is when they use it, and when they use music, it's incredible. Anakin is in red now and just beats the crap out of Asajj.
Yeah.
Like he goes full on dark side. Like he gets like the red lightsaber because she like knocks the blue away and he has the red, and like, we get it. You're gonna become Darth Vader. We get it.
Are you sure? Wait a minute. He becomes Darth Vader?
Yeah. Shockingly, after seeing this, I know you would be surprised.
Yeah, it's not like you can tell,
But yeah, he eventually becomes Darth Vader. And then they have like the bit where he's like whacking her with the lightsaber, and it's like Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Yoda.
It's very like whack. Like I saw that. I was like, oh, that's like not a nice thing to do when you're fighting.
Like in context, it's like, oh, this is him getting very close to the dark side. Taken in the broad, overarching sort of everything that was coming out at the time, this is not the only time he will come very close to the dark side, and that's kind of a problem with the overarching stuff. But this is kind of the core arc for Anakin, is he gets real close to the dark side, then is like, this was a bit of a mistake, maybe. Of course, we don't dwell on this because we only have 3 minutes for the finale, but
theoretically, in terms of what
if
we're
you're
seeing,
watching just this show, this is the end of Asajj Ventress.
Yeah.
She is fucking everywhere after this in the comics and books. They loved her in the comics.
Okay.
Because I was like, comics, she's in dark.
That's crazy. Okay, so she's quote unquote dead at this point then. Like she's gone. Like she's done. Like as far as we know.
For the purposes of the Clone Wars micro series, she is gone. She is.
Oh my
dead.
God, that's crazy.
But she just popped up all over the place. Like I said, she was most prevalent in the comics. She was a very good like villain that they could bring up just for them to fight.
Crazy.
Okay. I'm just looking at some other things she might have been in. She was in a couple of the books. She was in the Sisters Deception. She was in Jedi Trial. She was in Yoda Dark Rendezvous, which is the big one she shows up in. She has a real big scene in Dark Rendezvous. But mostly she was in the comics.
Well, damn, gone too soon.
Yeah, she got a pretty interesting ending in the comics. Perhaps later or perhaps elsewhere, I will talk about the difference between her canon ending in Dark Disciple and her Legends ending. Well, we hop back over to Munilist.
Okay, we need to talk about this because this is like just the first 3 like seconds of this. We have to talk about this Jedi.
So this dude that shows up, his name is Volvith Man. I'm sorry, Volvith Mon. Volvith Mon. I fucking did this when I took my notes. I wrote Volvith Man. Okay. And then when that's not right, I'm thinking of Elzar Man. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna write down in big capital letters, Volvith Mon. so I don't say
Volvith
Volveth man on the air, and then I fucking said it anyway because I have High Republic brain rot. So they did a contest, like it was a poll. So you could vote which Jedi would show up in the finale of the Clone Wars. Because at the time, this was billed as the finale.
Gotcha.
This guy won. The Wolfman won. It was between him and 2 other Jedi. And without spoiling too much, I will not yet tell you who those other 2 Jedi are.
Oh, because it's relevant in the next.
It's relevant in the next block of episodes.
Dang it. Okay, fine. Well, that's a good teaser for
all
our
you need
audience,
to know.
Then,
all you need to know is this gentleman shows up because he was a poll winner of the one that people wanted to see the most.
They wanted to see a werewolf with a lightsaber. Got it.
They wanted to see a werewolf with a lightsaber. That is not even the wildest fucking thing in this chapter.
So I know that's not even the craziest thing, but now that I'm seeing this like in this show, I'm like, so when the fuck do we get a werewolf in the live action now? Because if I don't see a werewolf person in Mandalorian season 3, I'm rioting. Like, why? I need more werewolf Jedis in my life.
Bradley, would it delight you to learn that there has already been a werewolf in Star Wars? In fact, I'm pretty sure there has been this specific species in Star Wars.
Well,
Do
I mean,
you
I've
want
seen
to know?
It in New Hope, but
okay, you jump to it's in New Hope. There's like a Wolfman mask because when they did the cantina, they went out and bought a bunch of masks.
Right, and that's why like there's
like just randomly slapped them onto people.
No, but don't they replace it? Yeah, no. So but they replace him in the special edition. So the Wolfman gets replaced by something else. Yes,
he's
it does. Yes, because it's some ugly ass thing.
Lack Sivrak. I'm looking at him right now. Oh.
It gets replaced by some ugly ass alien.
Right.
In the special edition. It gets
replaced by an ugly ass alien. However,
which made me so mad because I love the Wolfman from the original.
So Lack Sivrak is his name.
Okay.
He is, it looks like, still canon.
Right. Even though they took him out of the movie.
Even though they took him out of the movie, he is still technically canon. But well, this was a Wolfman, and there was also a Wolfman in the pre-1997, which Disney, you own Fox now. I don't like this, but you do own Fox. You can release the original theatrical cuts. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true that they haven't done that. But
hashtag release the Wolfman cut.
Yeah, Wolfman cut.
Hashtag release the Wolfman cut. Let's go. Yeah, but the Wolfman is here. That's wild. Absolutely goddamn wild. Anakin lands and demonstrates that he's supposed to have had a character arc here. He has, however, learned nothing through this. He lands and he's like, oh, maybe it was a mistake to run off into the obvious trap. But I won. And Obi-Wan correctly makes the point of like, you won a battle you shouldn't have fought. However, they are interrupted by a Jedi calling desperately for aid to the planet of Hypori because the new droid general of the Confederacy of Independent Systems is fucking massacring them on Hypori. And then he dies and a foot steps on it, the hollow communicator. And it is the foot of our first appearance ever of General Grievous.
Oh, yes.
And oh boy, is there some disconnect between the Grievouses. Bradley, what did you think generally of this General Grievous throughout this next sequence?
What do I think of generally of General Grievous?
Generally of General Grievous. What do you generally think?
So he gave me I wrote down very like he gave me like vampire vibes, like very much like not Edward Cullen, but you know what I mean, like a true Dracula. Like he's got the cape and he's very slender and he's very like, you know, like you never know where he is. Like he's like hidden, like even though he's staunch white against the background, like his color theory or whatever there is, like he's literally white against everything else. So it's very interesting that he's white. Since he's the villain, which is like a weird color choice for a villain, but because they're always black. So.
Friendly reminder, if you didn't pick up, that Bradley and I went to the same college, And color theory was at least a course that I was forced to take my freshman year.
Yep.
Bradley, I think you went to a different college first, so I don't know if you were able to
Well,
overwrite that, or did you have to go to color?
You had to take it. Everybody has to do color theory in their first year of going to that school. So no matter what time you enter.
I have never mentioned this, but a piece of Charles lore. Part of the reason that I did not finish my second degree, which was the one I met Bradley in, was because I had taken some time off to examine whether or not I wanted to take and pay for a year's worth of gen ed classes, or if I just wanted to take the knowledge that I'd gotten from the TV courses we took together. And I ended up not coming back after that. But the gen ed classes at our school were a bunch of things like art history and color theory and 2D design. And it's like, that's opinions about that, but that's for a different podcast. Yes, there's some interesting color theory going on here with Grievous and how he's like compared to the other droids.
Yeah.
Because he's much like shinier and whiter than he is in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, I noticed that.
He also sounds fucking terrifying in this. Like, again, imagine you're 13 years old and this has come on your TV. Right. When did Revenge of the Sith come out? Revenge of the Sith is 2005. This aired in 2004. I want to say. Yes, okay. 2004. So this is the first time you have ever seen General Grievous. You have not seen Revenge of the Sith. You're watching this, right, and you know that General Grievous sort of is coming, but he shows up and he's this. And he talks like this very erudite, like, I will permit you a warrior's death. And then he like just shows up and massacres a bunch of Jedi. Like, imagine being 13 and seeing this.
Oh, so good.
And then a year later, Revenge of the Sith comes out.
Wait, is it you're telling me there's a difference between the two? Wait, what?
Well, Lucas sort of intended General Grievous to be kind of this Saturday morning cartoon villain. He always loses. He's ridiculous.
Got it.
You know, he is threatening, but he's not like Palpatine levels of terrifying. Like, he's your average G.I. Joe villain. And then the Clone Wars animators took that and went, what if he's fucking brutalizing the Jedi?
Yeah, what if he's a literal Jedi killing machine? Like, that's literally all he is.
Which technically in canon he is, because he has the lightsabers. All they were working off of was his basic design.
Okay.
And they were working off of he kills Jedi.
Well, it's interesting because we get to see where he gets his lightsabers from in this, right?
Some of them, yes.
Yeah. So that's cool because, you know, we never got to really see that. So it was cool that
it's interesting because so Grievous is voiced by a gentleman. I'll just skip to the voice actor here. Voiced by a gentleman named Richard McGonigal.
Okay.
Matthew Wood, who would do the voice of Grievous for everything ever, I do not think had been cast. I don't think he was voicing the role. I think, and I need to double check this because I'm not sure, they may have still been trying to get Gary Oldman to do it at the time that they animated this. So it is highly possible that this was the performance they were expecting Gary Oldman to give.
Interesting.
And then Matthew Wood auditioned himself, even though he wasn't supposed to, but that's a whole nother story. Yeah, Grievous here, very interesting. So there's a couple of Jedi in the room. We're not going to talk about all of them, but I want to highlight one in particular, the gentleman who runs out and gets crushed by Grievous.
Okay.
Do you know what this dude's name is, Bradley?
Is it like Crush Tie something? Like it's like a joke like on how he dies.
Pull him up, and who does he look like?
He looks a lot like Luke Skywalker, honestly.
I'm gonna say it, and you're gonna be.
Is it
pissed.
Shaggy from Scooby-Doo?
So the character's name is Shaggy.
Shut up.
Shaggy.
I was just kidding, but he actually does look like Shaggy from Scooby. He even has the same chin hair.
Shaggy. Yep, he has a giant reference.
Shaggy.
No joke. Dude's name is Shaggy.
I'm surprised he wasn't like in the middle of this like thing. He's like, I'm getting out of here, man. Like, and then runs out. He kind of does, actually, a little bit.
Yeah, so General Grievous just fucking murders everybody, beats the shit out of Shakti and I am totally blanking on her name, the blue Twi'lek. Aayla Secura. Beats the shit out of, kills a whole bunch of Padawans, beats the shit out of Shakti and Aayla Secura and Ki-Adi-Mundi. Ki-Adi-Mundi's still standing up. General Grievous leaps up into the air to bring his lightsabers down on Ki-Adi-Mundi, and we cut to credits, and that was it for a year.
A year, wow.
That was how season 2 of this show ended. And the next episode would not premiere until a year later, March 21st, 2005.
That's a long time, but okay.
In season 3, which was, I am double checking something real fast, which season 3 is going to lead us into not Attack of the Clones, into Revenge of the Sith. But this is where it ended for a year.
So now, does Revenge of the Sith come out in the interim time between the two?
No. So interestingly enough, and we'll get into it in
the next episode. Okay.
The next episode or series of episodes, as of recording this, we don't know what the Bad Batch means by, quote, spring 2022, end quote. We don't know if that's going to come out in April. We don't know if that's going to come out in July.
Got it.
We got no idea. So we're either going to have to do the next one in multiple batches, or we're going to do one episode for the whole season 3. We don't know at this time. But This ended, and then it was a year later, and that came out in March. That was a week in March that it aired. And it was in March. Revenge of the Sith came out in May. Although it was sort of interesting because we kind of knew what the plot for Revenge of the Sith was at that point. Like I've talked in previous episodes that I got spoiled for Sidious's face on like the back of a cereal box. And like it used to be that you could like go on to like Hyperspace Club members or whatever could go on and literally watch a live stream of the filming of Revenge of the Sith. And like I accidentally read the first 3/4 of it in comic books at my friend's house. Like spoiler culture was not a thing, but yes, that is where we ended for a year. Absolutely wild shit. Obviously, I've mentioned that's Richard McGonigal as the voice of General Grievous. He's a gentleman that's been in quite a few things. Another one of those voice actors. He was in Dragon Age Origins, but I don't know who he played because it just says additional voices. I'm not going to check if he's done the Disney trifecta. I've checked too much of that tonight.
We only care about the ladies, so.
That is true. That is true.
Because clearly the women of Star Wars are the only people who can hit the Disney trifecta, it looks like.
Correct. Yes.
Well,
although credit where credit is due, the one shuttle pilot in Mandalorian season 2 episode 8 did hit the Disney trifecta.
You're the only time I even remember that is if you ever bring it up. Literally, I always forget every single time. Like I always think like Ming is the only person in my brain that has hit it in live action, and I'm like,
now Ming Na Wen is the undisputed queen.
Yes,
of the Disney trifecta.
She kind of is our inspiration.
She has led. 1, she is a Disney princess.
Right.
2, she has appeared in live action and animated in a Disney thing. And she co-led a Marvel TV show. And she co-led a Star Wars TV show. So she's the undisputed queen.
She
has a lovely court of people who have also completed the Disney trifecta. I do want to shout out Andre. I am so sorry. I'm going to butcher the fuck out of this last name. Andre Sogliuzzo, who is the voice of Captain Typho, Captain Fordo, and anytime you hear the clones, he is that guy, including other characters who will pop up in season 3. But I didn't want to let it go. I didn't mention him in any of the other episodes. But I did want to mention him here, that he does voice all of the clones. So anytime you hear a clone, that is Andre Sogliuzzo. Bradley, what are your final thoughts on the Asajj Ventress versus Anakin Skywalker And then also General Grievous is here murdering people.
Well, I'm sad that, Asajj Ventress is gone. I didn't know that because like I said, I haven't finished the last bit of this micro series. So I only watched the first two. Well, because the way Disney Plus has it set up is it's split into two. So you can watch the first half, which is 1 through 20, and then you can watch the second half, which is 21 through 25. So I've only watched the first half up till this recording. In the interim weeks, as we start to release these and how we release them depends on when I'm going to watch it, because I'm going to save it until we need to watch it, if that makes sense. I'm going to hold off for a little bit, but I'm sad that she's not going to show up again, because like I said, she was my favorite character in the Clone Wars TV show. So seeing her in this, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like the origin of her character essentially. And the character design, everything. I love her so much. Sad that she's gone from that, but
I think you'll be very, very, very excited to see what's coming up in the third season, because they kicked the episode length up.
Interesting.
To 15 minutes.
I see that I enjoy, and then I also like that. Even though he's only being introduced here at the end, another one of my favorite characters, just in general terms of design and just in general, I love General Grievous.
In general, do you like General Grievous?
In general, I like General Grievous. I do like him. Actually, I thought it was really funny how in this episode he's fighting with his foot at one point.
Oh my God, yeah.
We didn't mention that, but I thought that was fucking hilarious, first of all. Second of all, it shows you that they didn't know what was going on in Revenge of the Sith yet, because he literally has 4 arms in Revenge of the Sith, or 2 arms that split into 2, or 2 arms that split into 4. But it's interesting that he's using a foot to fight in this one. It's hilarious.
I love the bit where he grabs the guy by the head and just smashes his head down in. And they show it full out. They don't cut away or anything. They show the dude getting crushed. This was fucking horrifying to watch if you were a kid.
I'm surprised that
terrifying.
They showed that.
You came away scared shitless of General Grievous.
Love it. And even when they showed the close-up of his eye, I thought that was so cool, because they do that again in Revenge of the Sith, which I thought was interesting, because in this they show the close-up of his eye, which is like it's just like a more detailed shot, right? When you show his eye at the end. And then when we see it again in Revenge of the Sith, you can see like the eye, and you can see like the liquid coming out of his eye. You know what I mean? Like you can just see like his eyes all watery or whatever, and like his skin under his eye is gross and like not moldy.
He has a human eye. Like it's interesting because they talk about him as the droid commander of the siege, the droid commander of the siege or whatever. And then you see him and it's like, no, he's got an organic eye.
Yeah. It's creepy, but it's cool.
Do you have any other thoughts, Bradley?
I have no thoughts. I'm excited to see where the Clone Wars is going. I really don't know where the story is taking us. So it's very interesting.
Yes. In season 3, they finally knew what was in the script for Revenge of the Sith. So,
so they weren't just making it up as they went along.
A little bit of information. I do want to circle back before we close the book on volume 1, because this was mostly a volume 1 thing. I do want to answer a question that you asked all the way back in episode 1, which for us was about 3 hours ago. But for our listeners was probably about a month ago.
Right.
You asked this question. You asked to know what shows it was around.
Oh, okay.
Like what shows it was sandwiched in between. I do not have the answer for the preceding show, the one that came directly before this. But I do have some interesting facts about it. Most notably that according to Wikipedia, in addition to being shown in television, episodes were released online simultaneously on the Star Wars and Cartoon Network websites. So it was one of our first instances of a streamed show that I can think of, to where you could go on and watch it online. Now, Star Wars Wikipedia does clarify that you had to be a member of the Hyperspace fan club to get it simultaneously online, but you could get it simultaneously there, or you could get it the next day on Cartoon Network.com or StarWars.com. So you actually go watch this online. which was pretty cool. And they were heavily promoting it. And it was originally shown right before their popular Friday night programming block, Fridays. So right before the big prime time, whenever it would drop on Friday, it was timed to drop right before their big programming block. So it would lead you into their huge block there. So that is some additional information for you about the Clone Wars as far as the release goes. Do we have any final thoughts on Volume 1 as a whole?
As a whole, I do like that Disney put it kind of like one half and then another half. I do kind of wish almost that they would have edited it together in arcs rather than had it been like 1 hour block for part 1 and then another hour block for part 2, especially since if you look up online, it's billed as season 1, season 2, and season 3, just in general.
And like they can do this because they should have done it the way they did Blips, where Blips is like 30 seconds, but each one is its own episode. I do wish that they had broken it up, and so you could clearly see the different episodes. But alas, they decided to cut it together, which, I mean, it flows very much like a film if you don't know that it's supposed to be an animated. You may be wondering, like, why are we popping off for Kit Fisto for 5 minutes when that has no relevance in the plot whatsoever?
Right.
It does flow very much like a film, and especially Volume 1 heavy in particular, but it is telling one coherent story over the course of it. It's just like a crazy nostalgia trip for me because, like I said, I was the perfect age to like remember this. Like, I remember this coming out, and I remember the deal this was because this was just when I was getting into the expanded universe. Because I didn't really get into the expanded universe until around the point that Attack of the Clones started coming out. Up until that point, I was the movies. Because I was super young. I was super young when I was watching the original trilogy, and I was 8 when The Phantom Menace came out. So this was sort of my first gateway. This was my first steps into a larger world. So it was interesting to revisit it, and it will be interesting to revisit season 3 later on. But all right, Bradley, well, that's it for Volume 1. We will let the people know ahead of time how we are going to handle Volume 2. Hopefully by the time this comes out, we will have some sort of fucking release date for the Bad Batch.
And that will determine how we do the next section. Because like if for some reason like we're halfway through releasing this, and they're like, by the way, Bad Batch comes at the end of March, we're gonna be like, oh fuck. So
if they do, like, we're banking on the fact that it'll be at least 5 weeks from when this episode, but the first episode premieres of our run here, at least a month and a half from now before because we haven't even gotten a trailer for Bad Batch.
Nothing.
We haven't got nothing. Although they did announce the release date for Book of Boba Fett a month before. So we will keep you guys updated on how fast we're going to do Volume 2 and whether or not we will be going into Bad Batch or Obi-Wan Kenobi. But until then, Bradley, do you want to run the social so you don't have to see me for a month?
Sounds good to me.
Just kidding. You can't escape me. I have your direct phone number.
Thank you for listening to Goldsquadrongays.
Did Charles fuck something up? Email us at goldsquadrongays@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at goldsquadgays, and you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at goldsquadrongays. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Goldsquadrongays, where we post this podcast as well as exclusive video content.
Please join us next week and every week for another episode of Goldsquadrongays.